I love that he actually lets us know something's going to be required of us, and it is diligence. That diligence will be required. And sometimes we might wonder what that might look like. Every time I read the word diligence in scripture, I am reminded of a story that happened many, many years ago that I just want to share with you quickly, because it's such a great lesson of figuring out how to work through a call or a stewardship. Caleb, our oldest, grew up playing soccer his whole life. We invested all of our money in soccer, in coaches, in summer camps, in training. All of his friends played soccer. It's what he did every year. And in 11th grade, he came to us and said, I don't think I'm going to play soccer anymore. I think I'm going to play lacrosse. And we were like, what? We haven't put any money into lacrosse. Also, the lacrosse team here lost every game by 20 points. So if you just were like super interested, but he really wanted to play lacrosse. And I don't know if any of you have ever had that happen before with a child choosing a different path but we've invested so much in this path, and to have them be like, yeah, I think I'm done with that. I'm going to go this direction. And you're a little bit married to this path, So that was a little bit hard to be able to stand back and be like, okay, we have to let him be like moved by the Spirit, and what does he need to learn from this situation? And he ended up playing lacrosse and losing every game. And it was fine, and we all survived Caleb not being a soccer player, and he graduated from high school and life went on, and he went to BYU. Well, at the time, BYU had an unbelievable lacrosse program. Program. They probably still do. I follow lacrosse, but
yeah,
at the time they were
just won the national championship.
And they had just won the national championship before. And he called home the week before school and said, I'm going to try out for the BYU lacrosse team. And I was like, oh, and in my mind, I was like, I don't know if that's a good idea, but when my kids get like 18 and 19, I try and let them just receive their own like inspiration. And so I was like, okay. So he went to tryouts the first day, and he called after the first day, and he was like, I made it through the cuts. And I was like, okay. And then in my mind, I was like, they probably just kept everyone, day one. And then day 3, Wednesday, he had made it through the cuts again. And then I can remember saying to Greg, is Caleb good at lacrosse? And I mean, he was fine, but remember his team. And on Friday, he made it down to the final. It was going to be the final cuts at that point. He had made it to the final cuts. And they were going to announce the next day how many, and they were only going to cut 3 people off the team. So he had made it to that far down. And as I was thinking about it the night before, I was like, I just can't imagine, out of all those kids who are on the team, what is qualifying Caleb to be, I mean, I'd seen him play, he was fine, but what's qualifying him to be on the team? Well, the next day, Caleb got called into the coach's office. And the coach said to him, Caleb, you're one of the last 3 people that we're looking at here. And he said to him, I'm going to be honest with you that you don't have the skills of the rest of the team, but I want you to know why you're being considered. And then he started talking about the whole summer. Well, for the whole summer, they had optional practices that you could go to, and they were held every single day. Anyone who wanted could come and just throw around with the team before the tryouts. And Caleb hadn't missed one. He had gone to every optional thing. And on Fridays mornings, they would run up to the Y and do that every single Friday, optional. Anyone who wanted to. And Caleb didn't miss one. In fact, the Friday right before tryouts, we were supposed to go to Bear Lake. And Caleb made us leave late so he could run to the Y, which I was like, oh my heck, Caleb, you're not even going to make that team. I can't believe we're doing this whole thing for this, whim. And the coach said to Caleb, I am going to put you on the team, not because of your talent, but because of your diligence. And he said to him, I can't teach diligence. I can teach skills, but I can't teach diligence. And you have more diligence than anyone who's ever tried out for the team. Well, that was the fall tryout. In January, they do another tryout again, because that's when the season starts. And Caleb had to go through that whole process again, the cuts every single day. And at the end of the week, Caleb had made the team again because he had acquired the skill by then, because of all that time going in. But I loved the lesson of that. Caleb felt called. He felt like his stewardship was to play lacrosse in 11th grade, right? It was crazy to the rest of us. And then he worked at that skill, and he was magnified, and his efforts were multiplied, and he learned the importance of diligence in that situation. And it was actually not because of his gift, not because of what he wanted, but it was because of his diligence to that stewardship that it came to fruition at the end. And so I think there's something about looking at your stewardship and just thinking, how could I be more diligent here? Because it is going to be through our diligence, as a reward of our diligence, that though the manifestation of blessings will be poured over our heads. And I love the thought of